Hey, everybody, it's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, back with another 10-ish minute review on John Talks Indian Cinema. That title really has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Really starting to roll off my tongue. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everybody. I know the subscriptions aren't where I want them to be, but I also knew that this was going to be a long process. So those of you that have discovered the channel, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching it. For those of you that came over from YKY and are sticking with me, thanks for your loyalty. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm working hard to get out a lot of content for you. Okay. So, this was recommended, and you know what? I'm sorry because I did not write down who recommended this, but it's an SRK film. So, in fact, the person said it might get me some views. I'm not quite sure after I give this review of the film. The film is Main Hoon Na from 2004. And I looked it up on Google Translate, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, let me know in the comment section. That translates to I am here, which I guess is probably right because it kind of fits with the narrative of this film. It was directed by Farah Khan. It stars SRK, who I have seen in many, many films. Swadesh was probably my favorite film that he did. But I've seen, I mean, I don't know how many I've done, 10 to 15, I think. Uh, Sushmita Sen, Suniel Shetty, Nazaruddin Shah, who Wednesday, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and Boman Arani, who I first saw in Three Idiots, but since then, I think he's in just about every movie that I've ever reviewed on this channel. Okay, so this is considered a classic King Khan film. I have some thoughts on it. Let me say up front, there were things about it I liked, but there were some things about it I found rather silly, to be honest. And I'm always honest with you guys, even when I'm looking for views. But let's talk about the story. The story is about a a guy who is trying to reconnect with his family after his father dies, played by Naseeruddin Shah. And his name is Ram, played by SRK. You know, he's in the military, and there is a not it's not a well, I guess it is a terrorist. It's someone someone from India who they want to do this thing where they're going to trade Pakistani prisoners for Indian prisoners. And that's another thing in SRK films that I've noticed, where there are some films where Pakistan's the bad guys, India are the good guy, Jai. But in SRK films, it's a gray area always. There's not black and white, good and bad. And in this film, that is definitely true. So there are some Indian people who don't want this to happen. You find out later on why, but they try to prevent it from happening. So there's an assassination attempt, and from his commander, Ram's commander, SRK. So now his daughter is threatened, who's at a college. So basically, the story is this: Ram has to go to that college undercover as a college student to protect his commander's daughter, while simultaneously getting the ashes of his father to his ex-wife and his brother, who they've been separated for years because of the fact that Ram is a illegitimate child who got basically dropped off to his father, and the wife didn't want anything to do with it. I'm mucking up this story big time. It's very confusing. But basically, the story is him at SRK at college, not as a professor, as a student. Okay? That's the story. Excuse me. Now there's been movies like this where a guy who looks young, 21 Jump Street. I mean, there's been other films. So the story, I'll give a three because it's not a new story. But I'll break it down a little bit. And I'm not going to go into great detail, although I did take a lot of notes on this. But here's the thing about this film. Okay, so considering the time frame, right, 2004, it actually looks like a 1990s film with the styles, the music, and there was a lot of music in this. And from what I understand, very popular music too. I think the title song is huge. But here's my so there are things in this, like there's some great action in this, and it opens up with a great action scene where he's got this unbelievable entrance where he comes crashing through glass like Batman did in the 1989 Batman. But that's SRK's entrance, and it's great, and it's a great fight scene. But in this film, there are references to all kinds of movies, Terminator. They rip off the Matrix with some of the bullet time that they do and some of the fight scenes. In fact, I read that the director purposely wanted to pay tribute to a bunch of different films, which they do in this. And then there's another great action scene after an assassination attempt at the college. He gets on this rickshaw and is going after the assassins who are in a Jeep. And that's a really great fight scene with a bunch of aerial stuff. It's pretty cool. And it's funny. You know, he's trying to pass off as a college student. And it's very and I said this I think I put this in the write-up of the movie, but it's kind of a silly movie. Like there are consequences. There are times when there are consequences from violence, but it's few and far between. Like his father gets killed right away within the first 20 minutes. Then he's shown again through flashbacks. But Nasruddin Shah isn't in it that much. And I know I know there are tonal shifts in Indian movies, but this one was kind of like there were things like I said, there were things that I liked, but I did find it silly. Like there was a woman, the chemistry professor, who he falls in love with, right? And I thought this was really funny. Every time they showed her, and she was beautiful, beautiful woman, absolutely gorgeous. But every time they showed her, they had a fan in front of her. So her hair was always blowing, right? And whenever he looked at her, he would imagine a bunch of guys in white clothes playing the violin. And as the movie progressed, she started imagining that too. So that was but she never, without, until the end when the terrorists took over the school. But she always had the fan in front of her. So that was kind of funny. And then the daughter, who you think, the daughter's cute, but she's young, obviously, right? And you think maybe her and SRK are going to fall in love. And she's got kind of a grunge look, you know. And then at one point they glam her up, and who the hell is that? She was gorgeous. But he also meets his brother. I think Lakshmir was his name, and he goes by the name of Lucky. And you know who he reminded me of? And I don't know the actor. I do not know the actor. I think it's Sushmita Sen. I think that's who it was. He reminded me of Chopra from the Doom movies. He was kind of goofy. He's not as good as SRK. But he was all right. He was all right. So look at the story's a 3. The performances, do I think this was one of SRK's best? No. I like his more grounded stuff. Even the stuff that isn't grounded, like Fan. I really like Fan. I love Swadish. Jawan. But he was I always talk about the difference between Amir Khan and SRK, in my opinion, right? SRK is a personality, right? Bigger than life. He's always doing the arms up in the air. I never looked at him as like an actor like Amir Khan. Or some of the other actors, Fafa. I just don't see him that way. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think he's good, because he's good at what he does, right? And some of his movies I've watched recently, I think his acting is better. Like Fan, I really thought he was really good in Fan. In this movie, he was SRK doing the SRK stuff, right? I mean, the action stuff was good, but it was, so that's kind of my feeling on it. Now, So the performances, I mean, I'm going to give the performances a three. They were good. They weren't great. I wasn't bowled over by them, but I have to admit, because it's almost a 3 hour film, there were times where I was a little bit lost. Not lost, but I was wandering. It didn't keep my interest. Um, what else? Oh, Ram's brother Lucky, he's got a great entrance too. He comes in on a motorcycle. All these guys have great um entrances. Boman Irani is the principal. What he reminded me. No, he wasn't like in Three Idiots, because in Three Idiots he was kind of a jerk and cartoonish. In this one, he had short-term memory loss, which I don't know. They really didn't pay that off really well, but he was funny. Um, what else? There was the bad guy. The other thing about this film, the wigs were terrible. Like Lucky wore, he had long hair with a bandana. He always wore it, and then later on in the movie, he cuts his hair, right? So it was obvious he was wearing a wig. Oh, I got a tickle. Same thing with the bad guy. Now he. By the way, his face and beard, like mine, is exactly the same, but now he's got a wig with a ponytail. So now he's going undercover as a professor too, to go after SRK. But that was an awful wig. All right. He wasn't bad. I kind of liked him. Although his motivation for doing what he was doing was kind of strange. Um oh, they go to a theater that shows Cholet, and I know that movie. I've seen it. I reviewed it. Bak Chan. Let's see. What else would I like about it? Uh oh, there was one really good emotional scene where the bad guy, pretending to be a professor, rats out SRK that his father is Lucky's father and the mother's ex-husband. And Lucky gets pretty emotional about it, and he hates them. And I thought that was good. Um, and a lot of product placement too. Pizza Hut, Pepsi, Lay's, potato chips. I don't see a lot of that in these films, but I don't know, maybe it's there, but in this it was like in the forefront. Oh, and then they do this thing where one of the bad guys grabs the girl. Who was it? It was I don't know which girl it was. I think it was the chemistry professor. So he's got her with a gun, right? And SRK comes in with a gun, and the guy says, if you do this, I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her. So he lowers the gun, right? Now he shoots the sari right between her legs and hits the guy. Well, that's right out of RoboCop. Thank you for your cooperation. So I love that. I love those little call outs. Um, then the climax is a big fight scene on scaffolding that's really good. And in fact, I even like the ending, as ridiculous as it was. A helicopter comes and rescues him, and he ends up pulling a pin on a grenade. So I like that. And then they show Lucky and SRK, because SRK saved everybody's lives, and they're putting the ashes in the water. So they reconciled. And the other thing I really liked in the credits, they showed the actual crew. So when they had the credit, like the director held up a sign, she was actually the director and the lighting crew. I thought that was clever and nice songs. So, so I gave the performances a three. The songs, look, I thought, and there was a lot of songs: one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, and then nine during the credits. For me, I thought the best song was during the prom. I really liked that song. It was kind of a rock and roll song. The dance number was great. I mean, all the songs were staged really well, but they were long. And, the only one that really stuck in my head was the prom song. So I don't. So usually when I feel that way about the music, now I'm reading reviews on this, and everyone raves about the music. They love the songs in it, and I'm sure at the time this movie came out, these were huge. But for me, it was a three. So it was okay. The music was okay. The prom, and I actually thought the credit scene, that music was pretty funny too. Good, I mean. So overall, I have to give the movie a three. I mean, based on everything, getting a three. I should no, I got to slow down. See, that's the problem. I put the thing up that says the verdict, and then I give it right away. So let me tell you what I think the verdict is on this particular SRK film. Based on my tabulation, I'm going to give this film a 3. I think I understand it's a movie of its time, obviously, and I can understand why the Indian, I mean, this was a huge hit. I know that. I can understand why an Indian audience would love this film. But for me, having seen his later films where I think he's a much better actor than personality, that's why I kind of give it a 3. I put it right in the middle. Because there were times in this movie where I kind of mentally wandered off. It didn't really grab me. But you know, but I did. I mean, I liked it. I just wasn't bowled over by it. It wasn't. I wouldn't put it in the top 10 of my SRK films. But you know, so I watched it. That's my SRK review of Main Hoon Na. I am here. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Am I crazy? Am I way off? Is the music much better than I'm giving it credit for? I don't know. But while you're at it, and again, I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button. Because look, the algorithm is not pushing these videos out. I get it. There's not enough content. There's not enough likes. That's when they really start pushing out the content, because that's what happened on YKY. So this is going to take some time. I accept that. But anything you can do to help me push this, I would really appreciate it. So do all that stuff, but share it too. If you know someone might appreciate these reviews I'm doing, share it. I'm trying to put more content from the other channel, but I'm also watching 3 or 4 films on a weekly basis. So I'll be pumping out a lot more original content for this, okay? I'm still looking to do something with some of the viewers. Some of you asked me, what kind of setup should you have? Look, you don't have to spend a ton of money. There's some great webcams out there, 4K webcams that aren't too expensive, but microphones and lights. You need a ring light and you need a pretty decent microphone. Now, you don't need anything like I'm using. This is a Shure microphone. These aren't cheap, but Blue Yeti makes a great mic. I think it's about $100, maybe $79. That's a great microphone. So if you really want to do something with me and you're willing to invest in that, you know, we can really do something, because it will look good and it'll sound good. Okay. So, again, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the comments. Keep it up. I so appreciate your loyalty to the channel. So, that's it. We'll talk to you soon with, yes, another 10ish-minute review on John Talks Indian Cinema.
Zooby-dooby, pampara, zooby-dooby, param-pam. Zooby-dooby, nache, kyun pagal stupid man.
Zooby-dooby, pampara, zooby-dooby, param-pam. Zooby-dooby, nache, kyun pagal stupid man.